Okay, we all know Drake has made a series of baffling moves since losing his feud with Kendrick, but his decision to name drop streamers and content creators in this defamation lawsuit might just be his most catastrophic yet. For years, Drake has played the victim card, but this time, he's taken it to an entirely new level. Coming after his own label and Kendrick's Not Like Us wasn't enough, he just had to drag streamers and content creators into the mess. Now, in this wild lawsuit, Drake accuses these streamers of conspiring with UMG to sabotage his career. According to the claims, UMG allegedly paid top dollar to some of the biggest streamers to criticize him and react aggressively to Not Like Us. It's one thing to accuse the label that propelled your career of defamation, but dragging content creators into it? Now that's a whole different ball game. The kind of game Drake obviously doesn't know how to play. Since the lawsuit became public and it was revealed that Drake name-dropped creators, top personalities, especially in the hip-hop space, have been coming for him relentlessly. It's almost like Drake forgot there was a time when these same creators couldn't stop singing his praises. He could do no wrong in their eyes when he was at his peak, and to be honest, they were instrumental in his meteoric rise over the past decade, and now he's making enemies out of them. The crazy thing is, the timing couldn't be worse. This fallout comes at a time when content creators' influence on the culture is at an all-time high. They've become the fastest growing niche in entertainment, wielding so much power that influencers might be a more fitting name for them. Dragging the very people who helped promote some of his less than stellar projects in the past is a diabolical move to say the least. Sure, Drake has money, and a lot of it, but this decision might seriously undermine his chances of staging a major comeback. There's so much to unpack in this new Drake vs. Creator saga, so stick around as we break it all down. At this point, it feels like Drake doesn't even care what happens to his career. His abrupt and poorly thought out decisions have done more harm than good, and it's time he faced that reality. I want to know what was going through his mind when his lawyers were drafting this defamation lawsuit. Filing it apparently wasn't bad enough, because he had to call out content creators and streamers, which might be the worst move he's made so far, and that says a lot. The funniest thing is that many of these claims by Drake are all fabricated lies. It's almost as if Drake forgot how invested fans were in this feud from day one. People know what really went down, and accusing streamers of things fans know to be false, well, that's next level wild. The fact that he's doing this while his reputation and legacy hang in the balance is even crazier. It's clear Drake got so used to controlling narratives and pushing agendas that he's forgotten he no longer has that power. Gone are the days when he could set people up for public drags. Now he's the one getting dragged, especially after filing this lawsuit. And credit where it's due. These streamers have clapped back spectacularly. Not only have they unanimously refuted his wild claims of sabotage, but they've also called him out for alleging their reactions to Not Like Us weren't genuine. Now, let's keep it real. Only Drake and his camp think Not Like Us isn't popular at this point. That in itself says a lot about how out of touch they've become. But the interesting thing is Drake's diss tracks are filled with the same kind of lyrics he's suing Kendrick over. Look at his diss track Push-Ups, for example. That track had some really wild and cringeworthy bars, yet we didn't hear Kendrick running to court to complain. Now look at Drake out there embarrassing himself with a lawsuit because of some lyrics that hurt his feelings. The hypocrisy is pretty unreal. And let's not forget, when Push-Ups dropped, everyone was hyping Drake up. He soaked in all the praise at the time, but now that it's Kendrick's turn to revel in the spotlight, he's out there crying to a judge. What's most fascinating about this whole situation is that Drake was the one who befriended many of these streamers and creators in the first place. I mean, even when his music started to feel repetitive, they helped him promote his albums. These creators undeniably played a huge role in the numbers he's achieved over the years, whether you want to believe it or not. But when we looked deeper into the lawsuit, we found something even crazier. Drake actually name-dropped some of these creators he believes were paid to bring him down. The first name on the list? Kai Cenat. Now that's wild, right? Because if Drake had stopped at other names, maybe it wouldn't seem so ridiculous. But Kai Cenat? That's insane. It's like Drake forgot that the internet never forgets. Just a moment ago, Drake and Kai were tight. Their relationship was so solid that Drake even gave Kai early access to his diss tracks before they were released. At one point, Kai wouldn't tolerate any Drake slander until Kendrick came along and flipped the narrative. Back then, Kai was unapologetically biased in favor of Drake. Now that Kai's perspective has shifted, Drake's throwing a temper tantrum. Meanwhile, Kendrick never needed to buddy up with creators or streamers to make his mark. All he did was drop powerful responses to Drake's disses, and the culture naturally fell in line. Who could listen to Not Like Us and not want to join the winning team? Now, to be fair, Kai's reaction to the lawsuit has been relatively subtle compared to others. While he's managed to keep his cool, other creators have been relentless. They've gone on a rampage, exposing Drake's false narratives and tearing apart the many agendas he's trying to push. It's clearer than ever that Drake has always prioritized his own interests, even if it means throwing others under the bus. As long as it served his objectives, Drake didn't mind. He's operated with this sense of invincibility for so long that he never imagined Kendrick could actually beat him. But not only did Kendrick crush him, he's also become Drake's biggest nightmare. Now, the backlash from creators has reached a boiling point, and it wouldn't be surprising if Drake considered taking a hiatus. Honestly, that might be exactly what he needs right now. His reputation is in shambles, and there's barely a shred of positive news about him on social media. He's getting dragged left, right, and center, and it doesn't look like his newly minted enemies are letting up anytime soon. Many of the creators and streamers Drake accused of sabotage have been relentless in their clapbacks. Some have even gone so far as to release full diss tracks aimed directly at him, and to be honest, some of these diss tracks have heavier bars than anything Drake's put out lately. Someone needs to sit him down and make him realize what a colossal mistake this is. Making enemies out of content creators and streamers, that's a shallow, short-sighted move. Drake has everything to lose and very little to gain if he alienates the media completely. This might be Drake's worst decision yet, and considering his history, it's saying a lot. But most importantly, it's a move that could jeopardize everything he's built. Taking on UMG, Kendrick, and streamers all at once is one battle too many for Drake. He's losing control at an alarming rate, and if he doesn't course correct soon, the whole ship could sink. Underestimating the power and influence of creators in today's industry is downright foolish. These creators are the voice of the people, and their audiences tune in by the thousands daily just to hear their opinions. Accusing them of sabotage without evidence is next-level recklessness. Now that it's been proven these claims are nothing but fabricated lies, Drake's not only lost his reputation, he's also burned bridges with the top-tier creators who once moved mountains for him. Was it worth it? Well, only time will tell, but let's be real, streamers, YouTubers, and creators are now a massive force in today's entertainment landscape. Look at Kai Cenat, for instance. He's got a massive audience, and his influence is so strong that if he hypes up a song, the artist feels the impact immediately. This is the kind of power that sets trends and shapes narratives, and it's exactly what Drake relied on when he was on top. Back then, it didn't matter if his project was mid. The marketing, promotions, and creators' reactions made it seem like a masterpiece. Those were the golden days for Drake. He had UMG backing him, giving him the resources to control narratives effortlessly. Add in the full support of streamers and YouTubers, and Drake was untouchable. That is, until Kendrick decided enough was enough. He dragged him down from his high horse in the most spectacular fashion. 2024 will forever be remembered as a landmark year for Kendrick and for hip-hop. Kendrick has officially pressed the reset button on the genre, and nothing will ever be the same. With his latest album, GNX, he set a new, almost unreachable standard. The days of dull, mediocre hip-hop are gone. Kendrick has opened everyone's eyes, and now fans are demanding quality rap music again. This couldn't be worse timing for Drake, honestly, because he's surrounded by drama, negativity, and controversy, yet he refuses to step away from the spotlight. And this is why going after streamers was a terrible move. Nobody is rooting for Drizzy anymore. Even Academics, one of his most vocal supporters, has toned it down. Attacking the credibility and integrity of others is a low blow, and it's no surprise that most creators have flipped sides. Maybe Aiden Ross is still hanging on, but let's be real, Aiden alone isn't enough to help Drake push any narrative moving forward. While there's no doubt that his star power has taken a massive hit, Drake remains a force to be reckoned with, but every move he makes seems to chip away at what's left of his influence. Take Kai Cenat, for example. All he did was react to the biggest song of 2024, arguably the best diss track in years. He felt Kendrick's greatness through the track and shared his unfiltered opinion. Little did he know, he'd end up at the center of an 81-page defamation lawsuit. Now Drake's not only lost the backing of his label, but also the respect of his peers and his once loyal community of streamers and creators. How much more does he need to lose before admitting he was the one who messed up? The irony is that these very streamers supported him throughout the beef, even when they could see he was losing, and now he's managed to lose them too. All the factors that once cemented Drake's dominance in the music industry are fading fast. Right now, he's giving us a masterclass on how to end a career unceremoniously. Think about it. How do you go from being one of the biggest artists in the world to making enemies out of your own label? A label you've been signed to for over a decade, no less, and all because of a beef with a label mate. Instead of taking accountability, he's crying foul and alienating everyone else in the process. At this point, anyone expecting a grand comeback from Drake might as well give up. He's lost mainstream support and turned into a brand nobody wants to be associated with because of all the negativity surrounding him. And let's talk about that lawsuit. It's full of bizarre allegations that make you wonder what Drake was thinking. Kendrick called his ego fragile, and this entire situation proves just how fragile it really is. Filing a lawsuit instead of taking the L, that's a bad look. And let's be real, this lawsuit isn't likely to go anywhere because it's seriously undercooked to say the least. The fact that he's doing all of this just to prove a point is insane. If every rapper who's ever been dissed took it to court, we'd need an entirely separate judicial system for hip-hop. Everyone who once stood by Drake at the start of this beef is now putting distance between themselves and him, and honestly, who can blame them? Nobody wants to be associated with an artist who seems to burn bridges every other day. Whatever remains of his reputation is hanging on by a thread, and if this lawsuit keeps spiraling out of control, who knows what will be left of him when it's all said and done. Losing his relationship with creators is a disastrous way to kick off the year. These creators control narratives now, and the fact that they've realized Drake tried to throw them under the bus without proof only makes things worse. At this point, it's fair to say Drake's career has officially imploded. It would take a near miracle to bring him back to where he once was. He's lost so much in the fallout of this beef that the only option left for him is to accept reality. He needs a reset, and fast, but the real question is, can Drake ever reclaim that #1 spot he once held for years? Honestly, the odds aren't in his favor. Even if he somehow wins this lawsuit against UMG, the damage is already done and it won't change how people perceive him. He will forever remain the first loser of a rap beef who went to report to a judge. So hip-hop fans, what do you think about Drake's claims? Do you really believe streamers and content creators colluded with UMG to destroy him? And could you imagine a world where UMG would intentionally sabotage one of their best-selling artists? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you've made it this far, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for more updates on everything hip-hop. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.